Hi everyone, welcome to my weekly messages. I'm Jalailah Starr. Today the topic is self-responsibility, self-release. It's a topic that came about as a theme from the first week of mini sessions. Last week, if you read my message, you know I did my giveaway where I was giving away 15 minutes of free session time. It's something that I am guided to do every so often, and what I've come to understand is that when we need to make a big vibrational jump because there's something that needs to shift here on the planet, I think many others are called to give away time to help people figure out what it is they need to let go of so that they can make their jump. And collectively, we impact the planet and the vibrational rate, and we affect the mass consciousness, and that enables us to achieve that jump that we're looking for. So I started doing it last week, and like I said, there's a theme that comes out, and I found that if I share that theme with you, there's so many people who are going through the same issue that it's like putting it on social media. It goes viral, and people get what they need from it, and so you have a lot of people making a shift that needs to be made. And it's much more efficient that way because not everybody can get in to have a free 15-minute session. I mean, I only have so many hours in the day. So anyway, that's what's going on. So let me tell you what the theme was this week. This week, that self-responsibility, self-release, what that means is being able to take ownership of something that you've done, a mistake that you've made, a choice that you've made that has hurt yourself or others. And to be able to let go of blaming yourself for it. Now, you notice I said let go of blaming yourself. I didn't say forgiveness, because here's the difference. Forgiveness means that when you forgive somebody, what you're doing is you're forgoing the right to focus on that situation, to keep thinking about that, to keep holding that in your focus. But that person is still guilty, right? You haven't forgiven the guilt because they're still guilty. You're just not gonna let that muddy the waters anymore. You're gonna put that aside and try to move on anyway. Releasing somebody from blame is different. When you release somebody from blame, they're no longer to blame. It's not about you choosing not to focus on it. You go from choosing not to focus on it to being grateful to them for what they did. Big difference. So how do you get from not focusing on somebody who's still guilty to seeing them as wonderful and you're grateful for what they did? They're not to blame for any of it. It's like you're like, thank you very much for doing that. Totally big shift. You go from thinking of it from a 3D perspective to thinking of it from a God conscious perspective, because at the higher level, we call it the higher perspective or the God conscious level, there is no sin, there is no forgiveness. Now, why is that? Because at that level, everything just is. It's not about judging it. There's no polarity. There's no right or wrong, good or bad, sin, forget. There's none of that. So so you have to be able to see that situation from that perspective. That's why I wrote the booklet, The Formula of Compassion, and a second booklet called The Contracts and Promises, because it enables you to get up to that level and take that situation through it from a higher perspective and go, oh, that's what it was about. So this week it was about doing that, but not for others, but for ourselves, which is so much harder. It's one thing you can release someone from blame for a role, but it's much harder to release yourself from blame for a role that you played. So the sessions the week that was a theme this week. People were blaming themselves for things that were going on, or they were blaming somebody else. They knew they had a part in it, but they couldn't focus on their own part because that meant they were for blame. They would be to blame. I'm having a hard time talking today. They would be to blame. Therefore, they just reverted back to focusing on the other person. But the end result of all this was they were in this vicious cycle and they couldn't get out, and that cycle had consumed so much of their energy with their resentment and their anger and their bitterness that they've almost lost everything. I mean, almost lost their houses, their cars, their homes, their whole everything, their job, and they're in a crisis mode. So it was lots of good that came out of them when I would take them through the formula many of them would have an instant release, and things like chronic pain would go away. One lady ended up getting a job offer, and she'd been searching for a long time for a job, and all of a sudden a job offer came available. It's just amazing when you change what you're putting out into the mirror changes. Like someone comes along with Windex and a cloth and just wipes the mirror clean, and at the same time, when you let go of something you've been hanging on to, when you let go of blaming yourself, you free up all this energy so the universe can come in and fill that with something wonderful. It's a pretty awesome experience. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you today. And I don't know what the theme is going to be for next week, but I will continue for one more week. I'm going to do this a week at a time until I get the message that we're done. We've made whatever jump we need to make, and we can move on. So on that note, if you have already had a session with me, a free mini session in the past, like last year when I did this, please give this time to somebody else. You're still able to get a discounted session, just not the free 15-minute session. Free 15 minutes of time. Give that to other people. All right, so give me a buzz if you're interested, or send me an email. Actually, go place an order, because now you can do it. You can just go place an order in the store for your free session. And if you want to add extra time, because it takes, to get to these releases, it takes more than 15 minutes. 15 minutes is just laying the groundwork. Do so, and that would help pay it forward and help keep this website up and running. And thank you to all of those who have donated. I really appreciate it. It was hard for me to put that donate button up, but I'm glad you responded. All right, but don't think that it's over, because next month's bills are coming. All right, I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.